So I've basically handed over my entire workflow to this AI cat girl. I'm talking about everything. My daily task management, all the administrative stuff for my company, writing and creative work, the automatic image generation pipeline for my channel, any personal productivity thing you can think of. I just throw it at this AI assistant and it gets done. Let me back up a bit and explain what Hermes Agent actually is. It's not like this stuff you are used to. ChatGPT, Gemini, those are just chat interfaces. You say one thing, it says one thing back, and that's it, term-based. Hermes Agent is, well, an agent, a proxy, a thing that acts on your behalf. You tell it something, it understands your intent, then proactively goes and does the work using whatever skills it has. You don't have to walk it through step by step. It just gives you the result. So for example, I tell it to add images to my script. It reads my script, figure out which parts need visuals, search the web for relevant material, combines that with my content, either takes screenshots or generates its own HTML-based images, opens that HTML in a browser, screenshots it, then inserts the result right into my article with that whole pipeline. Once you've set it up and tuned it, I just finish writing an article, throw it at the agent, and it blazes through the whole thing and comes back with every image down. Another thing is, it has memory. When you're talking to it and having it handle stuff, it remembers what kind of person you are. It knows what I like, what I don't like, how I prefer things done. More importantly, Hermes Agent is self-evolving. When you ask it to do something it's never done before, it figures it out, looks things up online, thinks through the steps, it hits walls, it runs into things it can't finish. Then you talk to it, give it some guidance, and it explores more. Once the whole thing is done, it writes a skill file. So next time we need to do something similar, it checks if it has that skill, sees the steps, and does the whole thing faster and better without stepping on the same rakes. So yeah, it's not a chatbot. It's an assistant that can use tools, has memory, evolves over time, and breaks your intent down into concrete steps through conversation, pushing each step forward based on the feedback until the whole thing is done. But here's the thing, the agent is just a driver. The driver needs a car to move. The car is the LLM, the actual intelligence. And what kind of car do you pick? There are actually tons of options. You could use DeepSeek API, Qwen locally, or if you just have way too much money and you genuinely don't know what to do with it, you could even use Claude. Quick word on deployment. I've been using Hermes Agent since it first came out. I started by running it on my local machine with Qwen 3.627b. It worked great, could whip up little programs, handle everyday computer tasks, no problem. Then I gave up on local deployment, especially after DeepSeek v4 dropped. I started with trying it out, and before I knew it, I was completely dependent on it. Plus, I needed mobility. I wanted to use it from my phone, anytime, anywhere, whether my computer was on or not. So I rented a cloud server and deployed Hermes Agent there. That's my current setup, the complete package. I can access it from anywhere, on my phone or computer, through a chat app, Telegram, and do all my work. Next, I want to walk through what I actually use Hermes for. And at the end, I will tell you how much all of this costs. Hermes Agent plus DeepSeek v4 and the server. In total, you're not gonna believe it. I'll go from simple stuff to the more complex stuff. And the last one, just this one thing it does, saves me over thousands of dollars a year and at least a couple of weeks of time. So first up, some practical little features, like a to-do list. For people like me who gets nothing done but acting super busy every day, I can just tell it through a Telegram on my phone. Hey, here's what I need to do, and it's due in a few days. It understands my natural language, writes it up as a clean document, and stores it on my server. Then I have it deploy a web page that only I can access, one I can actually interact with, click in to edit stuff, mark things down, change dates. Feels like just any to-do list app out there. I can use it both on my computer and my phone. So whenever I need to jot something down fast, I just send a voice message to my cat girl assistant and she writes it up and saves it. The web-based to-do list syncs in real time. The whole thing, planning that feature and building that web page, cost basically nothing and was mostly a one-time thing. A few rounds of conversation and it was done. If you want to get picky about the design like I did with my own style, you can go back and forth on it. But seriously, it costs next to nothing. And I use this feature every single day. It was way better than any to-do list app I've ever used. And the next feature is News Pigeon. It pushes news to me every day. Setting it up was that simple too, just through chat. I told it what I'm interested in, AI stuff, tech stuff, what sources to use. Once configured, it sends me the 5 best articles it can find every morning and evening. I set up a few topics I care about, and now I basically don't scroll social media anymore. Haven't opened a news page in ages. I don't have to read 8th-hand garbage from random apps anymore. I'm getting roughly 3rd-hand information now, which is still not great, but it's way better than 8th-hand, and it cuts out so much noise. Another one is the daily log and thought journal. Since I do basically all my creative work and thinking through HERMES Agent on my server now, my conversations with it are incredibly valuable to me, but also to the whole human species. They're everything I did all day, problems I solved, ideas I had, what I ate for dinner, whether it's cheaper to leave the air conditioner on when I'm out for 30 minutes or should I turn it off, how to make handmade mayonnaise, what's the origin of ramen, and how many soy milk can I drink per day. Like all these things that are super valuable to human species. So every night I have it extract all the conversations from that day, summarize them by topic, and turn it into a highly condensed daily log. It sends it to me the next morning, and because I talk to it so much during the day, even the condensed version is at least 5,000 words every day. Reading it is honestly pretty moving. I can't believe I actually get this much done in a single day. One more thing. The skill pipeline builder. I mentioned earlier that Hermes automatically creates skills and codes them on its own. But for me personally, the way it codes them isn't exactly how I want it. It's a bit too automated, too uncontrollable. So I manage my own skill library, about 40-something skills now. Every production workflow and personal skill I use daily, I review and write myself. Put them in this library, manage them through an index, and call them through a web app deployed on my server. This way, I can build workflows that are precise and controllable. No more letting Hermes Agent grow wild on its own. I think this workflow is really valuable. If you're interested, I can make a dedicated video about it sometime. Alright, those are smaller features. And here's the big one, my entire creative workflow. I used to use Obsidian and Notion, haven't opened them in ages. The thousands of markdown documents I wrote back then were all dumped into the server now. When I want to create, make a video or write an article, if I have an idea, I just dictate it. If the idea isn't fully formed yet, I use a specific skill to have a deep conversation with the agent. Then I call a chain of skills to gather everything from that conversation and turn it into an outline. During this process, it reads through all my logs and notes, finds everything relevant, and integrates it into the outline. The outline usually doesn't need much editing because the whole thing was born out of conversation. I deeply involved in the creative process the whole way through. Then I have it write the script in English and Chinese at the same time. I'm currently running this English channel and a Chinese channel, plus another main channel with over 500,000 followers. Only possible because I have this Hermes Agent. And I have it add image to the script at the same time, based on the content. I already mentioned the image pipeline earlier, so I won't repeat it. But man, it just blazes through all of it. The efficiency is insane. Besides creative work, it also handles my company's admin, legal entity paperwork, all those messy tax forms and reports. There are new regulations every year, so I'd have to go look them up myself and prepare the reports. And it was a huge headache. But Hermes is way more accurate at researching this stuff than I am. Its understanding of the terminology is way more precise. It can go through all the documents I provide and calculate exactly which number goes in which box of which form. If I did this myself, it'd at least take me several days every quarter, not just the time. I'd probably mess it up too. And if I were to hire someone to handle it, the cost would be API token bill with 3 extra zeros on the end, at least. Speaking of cost, let me break it down. I said earlier, Hermes Agent is just a shell. The actual model driving it, I'm using DeepSeek V4 Flash. The reason DeepSeek V4 is revolutionary is it delivers a genuine capable model at a price that makes sense. It crosses 2 critical thresholds. The price is low enough that I don't think twice about using it. Its capability, paired with Hermes Agent, handles about 95% of what I throw at it. Probably 99%. And the stuff we can do, if I hire a full-time employee for thousands of bucks a month, they couldn't do it either. Hire multiple employees and suddenly I'm working for them. All the things I just mentioned, plus a bunch of smaller stuff I didn't even get into, or stuff I'm still developing. Let me show you what it costs. Over the last 2 weeks, I've been using it for months, but the data is over the last 2 weeks of stable operation. Here is roughly what I spent. For the Hermes Agent API calls on my server, it averages out to about 60 cents a day. The server itself costs about $10 a month, but you can do more just than running Hermes Agent on a server. You can host websites on it too. I'll share more about that another time. So that's it. A super intelligent, full capability secretary for less than $1 a day, broader knowledge than me, deeper skills than me, and a way better attitude than me. Am I worried about being replaced? Honestly, no, because I know there are things that I can't be replaced for. I'm autonomous. I have intent. I have style. I have taste. I'm a real person, and I have real connections with other people. I have trust I build up with other people. And that's actually why I started to making these kind of little conversation videos again, because I think genuine connections between real people is one of the most valuable things in the coming era. If you got something out of this, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. If not, watch another one. See you next time.